Okay. All right. So are we waiting for Stuart and Dana, or can we go without them?
Stuart is not coming, and Dana is in the DRI meeting, so she'll be late.
Okay. So we have a couple of things. I'm going to begin, if that's all right with everyone. We have a couple of things on the agenda. We have the Village Fair.
You gotta take a roll.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So Kate Schlott, chairperson for EAC. Who else?
Ilani Dooley, member.
Katie Alberti, member.
Sorry, to member.
Okay.
And Jaime Martinez, planning director.
All right, wonderful. So we have a couple of things on the agenda. We have some new business of the board. So there is Water Street, the site at Water Street, which was formerly known as the DPW site, which I believe now is referred to as the Station Plaza. And we also have Snowden Riverwalk, Riverwalk Apartments on the agenda, and the Village Fair, which we can discuss at the end. Are either of the developer?
Yeah, so one of the applications, the Riverwalk application, is actually going to be held over till next month.
Okay.
They don't have a finalized SWIP. They don't have a full plan on their tree stuff, so they just really weren't ready to go. So they'll be back next month.
Okay.
Applicant is here for 30 Water Street. I've never heard this Station Plaza thing. Is this a thing?
That is new. That I saw in the paperwork last night. I think that was something they just submitted where they were doing some name changes.
Okay. I'll ask Rick. I'll say, man, you gotta let me know these things.
But I think they're still referring to it as DPW in the meantime.
We're calling it 30 Water Street, but if it's Station Plaza now, we'll call it that.
So is this Bonnie is for? Oh, here we go.
Hi.
Hi.
Station Plaza.
Hello. Welcome.
Thanks.
I thought Station Plaza had been out there for a while. I guess it didn't fully circulate to everybody, but that is the working title.
Okay. Last night was the first I heard of it myself.
All our stuff says 30 Water Street. So
Yeah, no,
I'll
fair
call
enough.
it Station Plaza. I'll call it Station Plaza.
Fair enough.
It used to just be DPW site.
Yep. We had to come up with something a little catchier than that for now. Hi, everybody. How are you? I'm Jim Wendling with WBP Development. I'm joined by Chris Hahn from WBP Development, Bonnie Von Olson from Kimley Horn, and Rich Williams from Inside Engineering. Jaime, you want me to give a brief overview or yes? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
if you have a brief overview would help. I think if you have a presentation, like a short presentation, or even just some like visuals, that'd be even better. So you can share the screen if you'd like, so that you can talk them through some of the proposed.
Rich is very good when we share the screen, so I'm going to put the pressure on him. But we were before you last in June of 2021. We took notes at that time. We have a list of notes, and then the process got not held up, but the process was put on pause until we finished the land acquisition disposition agreement with the village, which we did on February 9th. At that point, we pivoted to starting the seeker and site plan approval process, which we're now 3 or 4 months into. The plans have slightly changed since we were last before you, but not substantially, but we'll go over some of the changes. We have a list of comments, like I said, from when we were here before you in June of last year. We'll go over on a high level, we have a bullet point list of your comments. Probably best equipped to do that. So Rich, I'll turn it over to you, and then we're here to answer any questions and look forward to your feedback.
Thanks, Jim. So if the board remembers, we were last before you July 6th of 2021. Since that time, we've been providing.
Thank you.
Since that time, we've been providing the village with a substantial amount of information so that they can conduct their environmental review or seeker. Things that we've provided include updated site plans and architectural plans, One of the most notable changes since this was last before you is we've reconfigured the shape of the front of the building slightly. We've added an access driveway to get to a garage. Again, parking. We do have parking underneath the structure in addition to a parking garage. Just to refresh the committee, you have the Sing Sing Kill, which runs through the middle of the site. You have Main Street, Water Street, Central Ave. The Greenway currently stops on the north side of Central Avenue. As part of this project, we're proposing to extend the Sing Sing Kill Greenway to the site, land it on a linear park, of which I'll show you the landscape plan in a few minutes. That linear park will be open to the public. There's also some public recreation space inside the building. And this is, all hoped in creating a pedestrian corridor that goes from Water Street, where we're near the train station, all the way up to Main Street. One of the changes actually I also want to point out to you is the proposed pedestrian bridge. That was not something on the plan last time you saw it, that connects Main Street directly to the building. So in addition to updating the site plans, we've also updated the stormwater treatment area, which I will show you here. This was something that we've worked in concert with the village with to help mitigate flooding that currently occurs at Water Street when the culvert underneath Water Street becomes plugged. Village DPW is often faced with the situation where a lot of debris gets flushed down through the Sing Sing Kill and ultimately collected here. And that's the first real choke point for that material. So DPW has been working with us to create a two-stage improvement scenario right here on the site, which includes constructing a stormwater basin alongside the kill, which will be deeper than the kill to create a shoaling pool to help dissipate some energy. In addition to constructing vertical piers that go across the kill, these piers will act as debris catchers during large storm events. The village and Wilder Balter have been working together, as Jim mentioned, for the past year to finalize maintenance agreements. The village will be maintaining those piers. The reason why piers were selected is we want to be sensitive to the kill and amphibians that use it as a migratory path. So we don't want to put any types of screens or other things that could impede fish or eel movement. Other things that we provided a tree survey on the site, which I'll show you in a few minutes. We've been updating our stormwater pollution prevention plan to refresh the board. There's currently no stormwater treatment on the site. Obviously, it's used as the DPW yard with material storage, machine storage, compost storage. We're going to have a fully code compliant stormwater pollution prevention plan, which will consist of a green roof. One of the board's questions last time we were before you was, are we doing an extensive or an intensive roof? At this point, our focus is on seeker, so we haven't detailed the designs of the green roof yet. We also have obviously the stormwater basin we're constructing by the kill. And in addition to that, we're putting hydrodynamic separators on the stormwater collection system to provide additional filtering or runoff before anything is discharged into the kill, which is where it all goes now. We've provided water and wastewater engineering reports. We've reviewed those with the village. We don't believe that there's any capacity issues there. We are going to be undertaking a closed circuit television or CCTV inspection of the sewer main, just to make sure that there aren't any I&I issues, which again could impact water quality. We've provided the brownfield remediation logistics and timeline plan for the village's review. Again, this is a brownfield site, so a large portion of what we're doing is we cleaning up. In a few minutes, I'll turn it over to Bonnie Von Olsen for Kimley Horn. They prepared our wetlands, waterways permitting and mitigation memo and concept plan, which has been reviewed by the village. We prepared a preliminary subdivision plat. We've been working with the village to discuss how to subdivide this property. Currently, we're going to subdivide the property into two lots, a lot along Water Street, which will be retained by the developer, and the eastern portion of the lot, which will be retained by the village and will contain the Greenway extension. We've reached out to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers for jurisdictional determination, and we've provided the correspondence back. We've provided an EAF Part 3 supplement. We've submitted our construction's logistics planning. We've provided a conceptual geotechnical plan. There are a lot of steep slopes along our southern property line, which have not been maintained for a long time. The nice thing is it's led to some tree growth. The bad thing is that tree growth is actually compromising the slope integrity. We discussed this at length at the last planning board meeting, and the village engineer agreed with our geotechnical engineers in that those trees probably should never have been allowed to grow and they are actually damaging the retaining walls beneath. So when we start talking about tree removal, we do have to remove the trees along the slope in order to protect the walls holding up both Main Street as well as this existing property here. We provided a traffic impact study. That was one of the comments that we had from your board last time. The village has hired an independent traffic consultant who has reviewed that traffic study and has agreed with the findings of our traffic consultant, which again is Kimley Horn. And we also provided our brownfield remedial action work plan. Next, if I haven't bored you enough already, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the comments that we last heard. So one of the questions that you had asked of us last time we were before you was, would we consider solar panels array cover over the top level of the parking garage? We took that recommendation to heart, and the developer is willing to do that. It's not currently on the drawings, but we have committed to the village that we will be putting solar panels above the 4th level of the garage. That's in addition to the solar panels also on the building. We have focused the planting plan on native plantings. We provided an updated landscaping plan, which I'm going to flip to. We heard the board loud and clear that you want trees and plantings. Basically, we're working in this western portion of the site, and where there was opportunities to add and supplement plantings, we believe we've taken advantage of it. We do have a series of plantings along the kill here. This is the area where actually the structure of the greenway extension ends. We call it landing it onto the ground, and you create a walking path. So we have plantings provided in this area. We also heard that you wanted trees and planters along the kill to help provide some shade. One of the design struggles that we have to accommodate, and I call it a struggle, others may not, specifically the fire department, is we've met with the fire department and they want access to the buildings. They have requested that we leave this open and of sufficient width that we can back a ladder truck in. So we're studying that right now. We're waiting for the dimensions and turning templates of the ladder truck. But the reason you don't see any plantings in this area, although we are showing a grass pave right now to help try and green it up, is because we have to maintain this for fire department access. However, on the other side, you can see we've created a rhythm of park benches and street trees just to try and create some shade trees along the kill, as you had asked of us. Jim had mentioned that they've been working on the agreements in the LADA with the village over the past year. I believe that does address maintenance requirements. That was one of the other questions that was asked. We haven't yet added an outdoor play space for children, but we were talking about that internally this week and potential options. Similarly with the bike rack, we haven't added that, but we do intend to. Just going down my list. You had asked us about garbage pickup, municipal or private. This will be private garbage pickup. You had also asked us about lighting and whether we'd be dark sky compliant. In doing some research, and we've dealt with this on a number of projects, to be dark sky compliance certified limits the amount of lights that you can pick significantly. What does achieve dark sky compliant, although they may not have petitioned for the specific certification, is to do direct downlight, no angled, and also full area cutoffs. And we fully intend to incorporate those elements into the lighting plan. And then also the last question that was asked of us was, is there any work being done underneath the arch of Central Avenue? There is no work being proposed to the structure or the arch itself. That's outside the scope of our work as a project, but we are going to be working under it because we have to get the Sing Sing Greenway extension over to our side of the river. I didn't go on too long. I'll turn it over to Bonnie, who I think is going to summarize our wetland mitigation plan.
Thank you, Rich.
Bonnie, do you want me to stop sharing and you can share, or?
Bonnie, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. If you could find the mitigation plan and just in your pile there it is.
No problem.
That would be great. So this is our conceptual mitigation plan that goes with the wetland permit application as a first step. And as Rich already explained, and the kill goes down the center of the site, and the trail is along one side on the northern end, and then will be continued across. But basically, everything within 50 feet on either side of the edge of the water is regulated by the village. It will also probably need a Army Corps permit at some point because there will be work in the water course for the pathway to continue and the stilling basin. But basically, the area that's on either side of the kill, 50 feet, there's a portion of it that's already been disturbed, and that's in the sort of the orange hatch there. And then there's area that's been not been disturbed. That's the darker red color. And that totals about 0.82 acres of regulated area. And with plantings that are proposed, the stilling basin, the debris trapping piers, and all the soil remediation that's being proposed for the brownfield, the total mitigation on site is 1.67 acres, which is essentially double. So it's a 2-to-1 ratio. And there's other, of course, improvements that are not really quantifiable, but the fact that the entire site's being improved and it's going to be landscaped, extending the Greenway Trail, you know, the general public benefits such as those are also obviously beneficial to the site and to the water quality as well. So the plantings Rich already pointed out, the trailway he pointed out, the stilling basin, if you zoom in a little bit further, or you could just point to it, yeah, is right there. And on the plan, you can see the contours there. And that's also on the upper end of the site is where those debris catching piers will go. And that's a mitigation that was discussed with the village for not just improving the stream water quality, but also helping the maintenance and the general problem with the flooding downstream as it gets to Water Street in a large storm. So we will provide, when the site plans are being approved, a more detailed planting plan that shows all of the mitigation plantings that are proposed. But for now, this we went over this with the village's consultant. He's agreed to, of course, the limits of the regulated area as well as all of the mitigation that's been proposed, and has agreed in concept that this is what would satisfy the requirements of the new wetland regulation. Is there anything else or any questions?
I'll
Well,
just-
sorry.
Just going to add, I should have said it at the beginning. No change to the program from what was originally contemplated when we were before you. It's a 109-unit affordable housing development.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you guys for coming back before us. I remain very excited about this project. I really like the changes you've made, and I very much appreciate how well you've incorporated especially the green elements that we asked about. I think having the green brick or the grass brick is a wonderful touch. And so thank you very much for all of the changes you made at our request. So I don't have any additional comments at this time.
I second everything that Milani has just said. And I really like the fact that you added that pedestrian bridge to help with some of the traffic onto Main Street, because that is a very steep hilled area. So walking around, it does help to create a nice flow of pedestrian traffic from the building area to Main Street. And I looked through the documents that you sent. There was a lot. So it was really nice to see a lot of the comments that we gave you last time incorporated, and even beyond that. So thank you.
Yeah, I know we talked at you guys for a long time, but it's pleasing to see.
We took your feedback to heart. It was very helpful.
Good, excellent. That's what we were hoping, because I think this is going to be a wonderful addition down to the waterfront, and I'm very excited. So
We are too.
yeah, I have no additional. I, like Kate, took a look at the documents, and there when I saw the list, I was like, oh, these poor people. But But yeah, I don't have any critiques or questions.
And I also second what Leilani and Kate said. I think it's great that you've incorporated our comments. It looks like it's going to work out really well.
Yeah,
Great, thank you.
I think it's going to make that common area just really pleasant to be down, and that waterfront has been so industrial and so, you know, just, ugh, and this is going to be a very pleasant place for people to be.
And given the long, narrow site, it's totally reasonable that the fire department will need to keep that clear. There just
Yeah.
isn't any way around it.
Yep.
Just a quick question. So you mentioned planting, the plantings being focused on native plants. So was there also going to be like removal of invasives or like assessment of invasives as well?
Good comment. That was actually something that you did talk to us about last time. We haven't developed an invasive species removal program yet. And I honestly, I haven't talked to it with Jim yet. We'll likely have to do something along the kill and within the boundaries of the kill itself. Just in talking to the village engineer, they're supportive of us removing a lot of the invasives in that area. The village owned property behind us, we're likely going to let to just its natural state. That's the property that, you know, we won't actually have ownership or control over. Jim, I believe as soon as we acquire the property, we're only acquiring the one half. But down through the kill itself, yes, we will be removing invasive species as part of the work. Obviously on the hillside, south of the building there, we'll also be removing the invasive species along that slope just as part of the slope protection.
Thank you.
And we recommend to the village that part of the work of developing the lot to the north would be to identify and remove invasive species.
I think we might be able to do that if you're not acquiring ownership of that particular lot, that might be something that we need to handle separately. But definitely things that we can discuss and look into, I think would be a good idea.
And just, you know, just in fairness to whoever would have to do that work, the slopes along that site, which you don't see in 3D, are not safe to put people on. So, you know, in any invasive species removal on those slopes would be a fairly dangerous feat. And, you know, it sounds easy to suggest, but
It would have to be only at the accessible areas. I know
Yeah.
exactly what you mean about the steepness of those slopes, and we'd have to really weigh whether the risk assessment of that is worth going through with just to remove some of that stuff.
I think what you can do is add a comment in your letter asking the planning board to consider invasive species removable where possible on the entire site, where, you know, where possible, where accessible as part of the wetlands permit. And you can just make that recommendation, and I'm sure Rich will be able to talk about what he just mentioned to the planning board when they're making that decision.
Okay. I don't have any additional questions or comments.
This one was much easier.
You know, we did have you here a while last time, so that, you know, this is good.
Well, it helped. We had a year to prepare, and we've incorporated all of or most of your comments where we could. And
Yeah.
we did it piecemeal, a few comments each month, and we got to this point. So we're in a good place.
And I really appreciated it. I know we had so many things, and I think you picked the top, like, ones we were really concerned about, so.
Great.
All right, I guess I'm gonna ask this question, Kate. When do you think you can get a letter back over to the planning board? Because the timeline that we're working on right now is the planning board would like to make if possible, they'd like to make a decision at the end of July on seeker. So we're
Okay.
sort of working against that timeline. So anything that we get from the EAC would reasonably like to be to us about a month beforehand.
Okay.
So that
if-
gives you like almost, 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks.
Yeah, I can definitely have something by the end of June for sure. Are there any other comments aside from the invasive species that we wanted to bring up?
Well, you have the
To them?
LWRP.
Yeah, the LWRP.
You do need to do the LWRP. You don't need to, finish that today.
Okay.
We would like comments that are going to help with seeker. But your general comments on the wetland stuff are important. I don't know if they talked a little bit about the tree removal plan, but if you have any questions about that, if you feel like commenting on that, then it's a good opportunity to ask them now. And then there are the LWRP questions. It's been so long. So the coastal assessment form is here.
Yeah, it's in there.
So if you'd like to
The
go over the
LW
coastal assessment form.
And the LWRP is also described in that, EAF Part 3 report.
Mhm.
There's a lot of it summarized in there. That's a good summary of information if you want to look through that.
Okay. I can get comments in by June 24th. That is 2.5 weeks from today. So I'll start circulating a letter to the rest of the council, and we can get our feedback to you so that you have time to bring that, take care of all that before the board meeting.
Great.
Okay, I this time I definitely don't have any more comments or questions.
We're staying silent so it doesn't lead to more questions. That's our strategy.
Very smart. I think, what the funny thing about this project is, not to add more to the conversation here, but there's no project that has had more public process than this one. Not even close. So it's the multi-step process from the RFQ to the 10-part series that was done on public engagement prior to anything even moving forward. This has been a long, very public process. So
I'm glad you guys are still sane.
I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Well,
Does
thank
anyone
you
else
very-
have any? No?
well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your comments. And we
Thank
look
you.
forward to working with you. And we look forward to getting started relatively soon.
2033.
Here before you know it.
Exactly. Jaime, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
That just makes me happy.
They've done a lot. They have done a lot of work on that. And between, I think, 2020 was when a lot of these site meetings were happening and the walkthroughs were happening. So they've done a lot of work, and it's really amazing to see the improvements over the last year of what they've done. And this is not an insignificant site.
No, I mean, and I'm so excited to have the Killway or the Greenway go all the way down like that. It's just to be able to, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this project.
It's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Well, that in combination with, when Snowden Riverwalk comes through, assuming that walkway connector really can happen, that would be a great extension. I mean, I know people aren't going to be thrilled about another apartment complex, but on the plus side, looking at what they were proposing for walkway in combination with what we're seeing from the, what are they again, Station Plaza
Yeah.
site, that would be really good. I have to get used
Yeah.
to calling them
Yeah,
Station Plaza.
it's funny, the Riverwalk site, I mean, they're gonna come back and talk about it a lot, but I think part of the project includes the creation of this like quarter mile, half mile trailway from the site that connects all the way to the Crawbucky, which ultimately outlets on North Water Street, you know? And so it's pretty cool. I don't know if anybody's ever walked that Crawbucky walk all the way to Water Street. But I've done it a few times from the part from the Avalon essentially down. It's a nice walk, nice little walk. Get a good exercising.
Right.
It is, but the Snowden apartments are right down the block from me on Van Wyck when that finally does go through. So that would be interesting to see. And the wetlands that they were proposing in that as well, in combination with that walkway, would be really, really cool. Assuming it is the way that it is in the plans and it stays that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Considering what happened with that like 3-story apartment thing they were putting in on Croton Ave, like right across from
Valvoline.
yeah, right next to that yeah, the Valvoline.
Oh, yes.
What the heck? I mean, I know they've got like stop order after stop order, but
I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that they had to stop because they put like they tried to sneak an extra floor in or something.
Not exactly, no. Yes and no. That's so they the original construction called for a sort of a platform with 2 stories of modular on top.
Yeah.
And then for whatever reason the cost of modular went up. The owner switched to a new company that actually owns a concrete project, and so they changed the plans at that point. And one of the changes that they made, a couple of the changes they made were in violation of the site plan, including taking the area that was a parking lot in the back and covering it and turning it into a patio. So they did add another floor, but it wasn't like more apartments. It wasn't that level of like egregiousness, but it was still pretty egregious and required a whole bunch of new approvals. So they've gotten all those land use approvals, but they do not have sign off from the building department because there remains some issues, and I can't get into the details past that.
That's fine. That's fine. It's just every time I drive past it, I'm just like, oh, duh.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll work out sometime soon, but nobody likes seeing it there, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you get tons of complaints.
Not too many complaints, and not external, but a lot of internal, like these kinds of complaints, like people saying, "Hey, what the hell's going on?"
Right.
So, but eventually, people from the outside are going to come out, So it's better to be getting fixed than to be what it is right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's not exactly a highlight of the scenic view.
Oh, no, not at all.
All right, Village Fair.
Yes. All right. So I met with the town EAC in May. We're in June now. Okay. Yeah. In May, a few weeks ago, and they have decided they're not doing a booth at the Village Fair. There were a number of reasons. Part of it, short notice. The other part is issues with, the consumerism of the fair and the waste that it brings. And it kind of goes against the idea of what the EAC ultimately stands for in terms of environmental impacts with waste and whatnot. But they are, yeah.
Can I get some time? So the EAC, the town EAC, is opposed to fairs?
Not opposed to fairs. They were opposed to partaking in the Village Fair because of the consumerist aspect of people who are going to this particular fair aren't going for environmental purposes, and that they have over the years felt that it's just become a place where people are coming just to get free stuff. And they kind of feel like the message that they're trying to get across has been falling a bit on deaf ears. They're not opposed to doing fairs. I think they just need a little more motivation to be excited for doing it. So we were discussing possibilities for next year. So rather than try to like squeeze something in now and get a booth together for a fair that people had ultimately already decided they didn't want to do, we were discussing the possibilities of doing things for Earth Day next year and the Village Fair next year. That way we would have time to actually plan something and come up with ideas that would be a little more exciting and that we could collaborate on, that would get people, you know, draw people in. So I just wanted to throw that out there so that we had some time in the months coming up, because it goes very fast. If there were ideas that people had, if they wanted to start volunteering time to come up, you know, do brainstorming ideas, there were a couple of things that were tossed around as possibilities. So there are, you know, options for booths next year. But the town EAC and Green Ossining both like the idea of collaborating with the Village EAC to do something in particular for Earth Day, if we could do something next year.
Yeah, that Earth Day Festival is amazing. Do we still have a line item in the village budget for new booth stuff?
You mean like signage and tables?
Yeah, signage, flyers, all that fun stuff. Because I know we put it in there.
I think so. Yeah.
We
Okay.
can do it, but I
Yeah,
think it's
like a
that we
small
do it
line item
first and then get reimbursed. I think it's
Well, no, I don't. Depends on what you want to buy. I mean, you don't have to like buy it and get reimbursed. So you can just tell Jamie, me, and tell us what you want, and we'll order it. And that way you don't have to come out of your pocket. So what do you all looking for?
I don't know. We'll have to come up with ideas.
well, no, nothing just yet, but you know, and whatever we can come up with in the coming months and then start moving towards, you know, putting together, because I think a lot of these things, what they were possibly thinking of would be like models, things that people can come and actually either touch, look at, you know, things that might require some creativity on our part.
Ooh, could we create like some kind of like climate crisis doomsday tunnel where people walk through and get to experience what the Earth is going to be like in 15 years?
Just get that little clock, you know, the doomsday clock. Just
Yeah,
We're trying to encourage people. We want to give them hope.
Mhm.
I think we're past like give them hope. I think it's time to like a little dose of, you know, reality,
Hope with reality.
foreboding.
So I just wanted to put this out there so that we could at least start the process in the next couple of months. And that way, come next year, March, we're not sitting there going, oh no, what are we going to do?
Right. You know, and minimum, tell people we exist and what we do, and at least that gets the word out. Tell them about the
That's a
trees.
good idea.
Well, I'll be working with Susie Ross in the next couple of weeks to work on some social media stuff and get the word out and do a little more advertising on the Ossining trees thing, because I started it and then I get overwhelmed.
Yeah, I need to submit the one tree up by my house that's, you know,
Yeah.
Dana, an old, you know, just this huge gorgeous tree that needs to be protected. But yeah, I definitely will have some time to volunteer for brainstorming and whatnot.
And I'm in the process of doing grant applications for a tree inventory. So
Oh,
we'll
great.
see what happens. Working on the application and to see whoever wants to throw money at us.
Yay, we like money.
Great.
Unfortunately, no one wants to just willingly give it away, you know.
Seriously, jerks.
But yeah. But that is all I had as far as Village Fair info and updating on that. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has any or any additional ones or any recommendations. I am all ears on recommendations for that.
Okay.
Hi, Dana.
I was just at the DRI meeting. The DRI LPC, so many initials, so many letters.
Yes.
How to spend $10 million. So it's interesting. Anyway, but what's on the agenda tonight? You have a couple of developments to look at, or?
We had one development who we've already met with, and we're very pleased because they did an excellent job of incorporating all of our comments. I think Kate, we kept at them for like 2 hours on their first one. It was crazy. Like Eric,
At Alter, or was that Riverwalk? Was that it was the DPW, right?
Right,
yeah,
right.
And Riverwalk we didn't hear from? That's a whole new thing to me. I don't know what that is.
that's been pushed, I guess, till next month.
Oh, okay. Good.
So
Can I bring something up? We got a letter from the New York State Turf and Landscape Association. And they are not happy with the regulations some villages are putting in about leaf blowers having to be electric and all that stuff. And they want to, they sent a letter which I can forward, but it seems like the perfect sort of thing that the EAC can weigh in on. So Kate, would you like me to forward you this letter? Did you get it?
I did not receive, was that just sent recently or?
Well, it says April 12th, but I only got it recently. We only got it recently. But
Yeah, you can forward that to me.
the state of New York isn't happy that people are banning gas
no,
blowers.
New York State Turf and Landscape Association. It's an association
Oh,
of people who
gotcha.
mow lawn.
whatevs.
Landscapers and stuff. So, and they feel it's a hardship to have to use the electric leaf blowers for a variety of reasons.
Have
But
you seen the price of gas lately?
well,
Wait till we start putting in mandates about when you can mow your lawn based on air quality.
so it is interesting though, because you have a lot of people who hire people to come and mow and blow and trim, and you have to, and I think that the homeowner has to go out and remind the landscaper, or the landscaper may not even know. And I know the dates, it's like certain dates. It's not all year round, right? But it's turning out to be a difficult law to enforce, as a lot of these are. So that's just something that may come up.
Okay, well, yeah, forward me the letter, and if it's something that I have to reply to or address, we'll.
Oh, maybe if we do a work session thing on it, maybe we invite you to come.
Okay,
All right. About forward that.
sounds good.
Yeah, because the kind of engine used in gasoline leaf blowers is a hugely polluting, huge source of pollution.
Yeah.
And,
Well, one thing they're saying is that while municipalities are imposing these regulations on these private firms that come and do people's yards, they're not enforcing them for their own municipal workers, which is interesting.
and if so, it's a different issue.
I mean, if that's the case, then that isn't appropriate.
But it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the ordinance. It means it needs to be applied. Anyway.
Is Stuart not on tonight?
No, Stuart's not here tonight.
No, Stuart's not here. He wasn't able to make it because since there's no legal actions being taken today,
Okay.
decided to take a night off.
Well, I'm sure he deserves it because he's a very
Yeah.
hardworking,
He
very
does.
hardworking person.
Yes, he is.
Cool. I think this is like the quickest EAC meeting we've ever had.
Yeah. I hadn't looked at my email for probably since the middle of last week. And today, just before the meeting, I opened up the one that Stuart sent about the Conservation Assistance Awards and the creating a conservation overlay zone. They look really interesting. But it's gonna take me a lot of time to really digest.
Yeah,
what they're about.
yeah, that might be something we put on next month's agenda,
Mm-hmm.
after we've all had a chance to read it.
And this is the one that has the webinar associated with it, I think.
Mhm.
Or yeah, I think I'm signed up for that, if I'm
Which
not
one is-
mistaken.
Which one is that?
I probably
There's-
some.
I might be confusing. I'm signed up for so many webinars right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I might be confused which one is which.
Well, I wouldn't doubt there might be a webinar, but I just haven't dealt with it.
Oh no, this was the document. Okay, yes, yes. I have this open. This is the document. And then I think there was another webinar. I think I am signed up for that. That was associated with that one. I'm not 100% sure, but if I am, I will take notes and I will happily forward any information I have over.
Excellent.
I don't have any other items to discuss at this point. Does anyone else have anything to add?
Oh,
Okay, I will get a letter circulated for advice for the DPW site so that we can get information over to the planning board for their next meeting. So we can have that done. I'll get a letter out by the end of the week so that we'll have the 2 weeks to add anything that we might want to recommend. Does that sound good to everyone?
sounds good. And I promise I'll open my village email. and read it. I keep forgetting I have it.
I'm trying to keep everything village related going through the village email. That way, everything's going through the official channels as needed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the right way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if there are no other things to discuss, I think is that it for the evening?
I move we
Yes.
adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
Yes. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And
Have a good night, everyone.
night.
You too. Talk to you later.